Buzz, who are sitting on the low ground just underneath them. Chiefs as well, so incredibly hurt, but Peterbot, Pollo, they are just praying for any sort of refresh, but nobody is coming near them. Keep in mind that reveal medallion also marking their position on the map. People know Peterbot and Pollo are on the approach.
Yeah, Kato is trying his best to see if he can swing around this dead side for the rotate, but Peterbot and Pollo not having anything to do with it. In fact, finding more tags now into Kato. They're gonna recognize, we just shield cracked here, push in, take the wall. They didn't have heavy material before, so what did they have to work with? Armored wall comes out, give them a little bit of room, but different duos now looking to collapse in. Luckily, the tag was onto Peterbot and not his teammate. Otherwise, it will be Rats here. Great Monarch tags, but they are literally operating on fumes right now.
Peterbot is down to his final 4 builds.
Wow.
Make that 3. He's still got 6 armored walls though, but he'll have to be so meticulous with how he actually places them. But
Needed
just
that.
in time, Chris has been found.
It's not much. It's not much, but it's something, and down they go in 17th place. They just couldn't get a footing. Look at who it is, Vico on the other side here. Falls and takes the damage too. Out goes some of the immediate threat. And things begin to open up for Cammy and Seti. Once again on the high ground, Queasy and Thomas, also who are just on a day 2 performance of their careers right now.
The opportunity has arisen though. Thomas HD and Queasy know if they can just close this one out in any sort of fashion, like some of the successful matches they've had earlier here today, that could be all the difference necessary. Only 54 points currently separates first and second place. Sphinx from the low ground, trying to take some chops up onto height. Success as well. Seti and Cammy will be forced to try and pave their way forward. Still looking to maintain a front side position of this next zone, but Duke, Sphinx right behind him, threatening. They're gonna have to push forward as well though. It's only a matter of time before the two have to clash.
Sphinx and Dukes have turned their focus to high ground here. They want to be up on that podium before the weekend's over, and there's just 3 games to do it. Here we are in the final moments, top 15 now. Things are starting to heat up here for Thomas HD and Queasy. Material running low, they have to find the refresh here. Desperation will start to kick in. They saw the shield crack, sidewall goes in. They're fully committed, armored walls. It's all or nothing, and Thomas HD gets trapped and put down. Back to the lobby he goes, but we've seen Queasy be here before. He will have to figure out how to clutch up for the team now.
At least for a moment, he's gonna opt to play his final med kit. It'll buy him a little bit of time. He's hoping that it'll buy him even a placement or 2, but now pushing in late from the backside of zone, hoping that he can drop in overhead, sees bodies, here's the shots connecting all around. Prism is gonna get knocked. That's the refresh he needed, but the splashes, Queasy can't use them in time. He gets the elimination, but at what cost?
And it wasn't enough to overthrow the gap between him and Peterbot and Pollo. The small chance that he had, the crack in the window that was open, he could not fit through. And it remains as close as ever as we are bending into game 11 and 12 of the tournament. This is Bryce's and Bolt's chance to secure a victory. This is Sphinx and Duke's chance to secure a victory. Or can Cammy and Seti pull a trick out of the hat at this point and come back with another win today?
Seti is already out. Cammy may have been right next to him. Swizzy and Yapko, on the other hand, they're looking to be the ones to try and overtake the low ground. They've created so much space, but working through these pre-existing builds and even the buildings themselves here at Brawler's Battleground is posing so much of an issue because Bryce Bolt's in the mid-ground. Pixie as a solo, he's gonna opt for the medkit play as well. Teams falling left and right, and the solos left behind, just hoping that the duos clash into each other.
Japko and Swizzy, very solid team, doing what they need to. Beautiful tag out to Gyros, puts him down quickly. Teammate falls behind it, and then Japko delivered Pixie right afterwards, and they jump their way up to 8 eliminations in the top 3 now. Bolts is weak, but Bryce is healthy. Sphinx and Dukes waiting their timeout from the high ground, listening to what's happening down low. The medallions in full effect, so they have all the information needed. And Dukes here to find one, now two on the low ground. Down comes Sphinx and Dukes. The call has been made. They're looking to close this game out. And they're a very weakened duo down here.
Dukes feeling good about this one, though. He knows that these players have got to be low. Final 3 builds remain. Sphinx right up above to back him up, but it's only going to take one last shot. Dukes waiting to see which hole Bolts tries to scramble out from under. Armored walls to surround himself for the time being.
That's so smart. He's got something to heal with. He actually is trying to survive it, but Sphinx was also ready on the high ground, and he has an extra med kit. It's going to be so close here as Sphinx has run out of heals, and Bolts has one in 3, 2, 1. It is over, and Bolts wins the game via armored walls and med kits. I knew they would win one this weekend.
They were hunting for it for so long. It was only a matter of time before they were finally able to seek this one out. A big victory royale to surge their way up the leaderboards. Heartbreaking moment for Sphinx and Dukes, but they did their best.
Would you please put your hands together for Bryce and Mars? It is good to talk to you guys. Walk us through the end game there. We saw the heals came into play, but what a way. The crowd absolutely loving that too.
We finally got a south pole for the first time. It went to the sand. We also got surge guns this game, so we decided to just stay our spot, get surge. After that, we made it to end game pretty easily. Once we were there, it was just refreshes, you know, it was just clockwork. I don't know, Bryce is one of the best IGLs in the game. I'm one of the best fraggers, and put that together, we're one of the best players ever.
I mean, Bryce, you know, we hear it from their Bolts. It was an incredible way to round things up here. Obviously, you guys want to get as far up the leaderboard as possible now. Walk us through this competition thus far. How has it been for you both as a duo?
It's been pretty challenging, but like we're the best, so it's nothing like different than NA East, pretty much, or NA Central.
And I got to ask as well, we heard it from these guys, Fort Worth. I mean, Fort Worth, let them hear you one more time. You've got the crowd on your side too here. That must give you a lot of wind in your wings as well.
Yeah, a lot of adrenaline running. I'm really nervous, but I'm also excited.
All right. You heard it there. Bryce and Bolts, one more time. Give it up for your winners! Whew. Lots more coming our way here. Bryce and Bolts, they're securing the victory, but we've got 2 more games left to play here. What's going to happen next? You have a front row seat. Do not go anywhere. This crowd already, we know you guys are too. We'll see for plenty more right after this break.
And welcome back to the FNCS Global Championship. We just wrapped up game number 10. Only 2 remain before global champions are crowned. To say this last game was chaotic, I feel is almost like an understatement.
Yeah, that was chaos in its finest form right there. Our 2 biggest teams going down relatively early, although still getting those placement points, probably still holding themselves up in the top of the leaderboard. But big shout outs to Dukes and Sphinx. We've seen some great performances from them, but Bryce and Bolt with the win there. I mean, we saw it from Global Championships 2023. Bryce getting that 6th place with Chubbs. Now, bringing it back again to show how well he can perform on the big stage.
Yeah, I mean, they said it right there. They have the perfect partnership. They have the best IGL, the best fragger in their opinion, and they think they are the best duo, which is, of course, what we got to see in this game right here. They're a little bit lower down on the leaderboards, too, so this is what the second day can do. That 1.5x points can really boost them up in the standings, which I'm sure we'll take a look at very soon. But it's this moment right here where Bryce goes down. Bolts, of course, had to pop that med kit, and Dukes just couldn't get inside of that box because he placed all of those armored walls. What a great strategy, and ultimately, it was because he had more med kits at his disposal.
Such a smart play, and it's also a bit of a risky play, right? Because you don't know what is in Dukes' loadout there. You don't know if he has the medkits. You just have to make that call. And a lot of the times we see these low ground teams, when it does come down to a heal off, kind of scour the low ground there, trying to find the medkits. But he says, no, I have to believe this is my chance. I'm not giving the high ground team a chance to drop down and eliminate me. I'm going for the heal off.
Yeah, you just have to commit, right? That's a great point, because like obviously as viewers, we have all of the information, right? We can kind of see everyone's healths and everything, but the players can't, right? They're just going, they're down below me, commit, health, the med kit. We don't have another choice. This is the only health I have, right? So very interesting to see. Let's take a look at our leaderboard with only 2 games left. How are things going? Peterbot, Pollo still holding on, especially after that last game. What I found very interesting about Peterbot and Pollo in that game, they started the game with bunker, right? But yet, most of the game, they were just shambles.
Yeah, we saw how deep into the storm that they had to go for that bunker. And when that happens and you have to do a big rotate, they're landing over the raft, and it was a southeastern zone. And then by staying in the storm to get that bunker, you just have so much potential to sacrifice, especially when people are paying attention to all those outside teams going for those tags. You just have to use mats, and you're going to have to use your heals a little early in that situation. Yeah, the casters mentioned it as well. They made a more quick south rotation, of course, within that very first zone to take out the OCE team down there that took out Venno and Clicks, and I think they didn't get the forecast tower there either, so they were always back in the storm. They didn't know where that next zone was going to be, so they couldn't plan ahead. And we've kind of seen that a lot throughout the day and the whole weekend, I guess, with Peterbot and Pollo. They haven't necessarily looked like the most healthy team, the most stacked team at all circumstances and all situations, but they have the fragging power, they have the ability to pull themselves out of that situation, and that's what makes this team so great. Absolutely. We saw there in a moment, Thomas HD jumps into a box, making the maddest play I think I've ever seen. What's interesting about this duo, right? Earlier on in the game, around 4th zone, they're sitting 700 above. Yeah. And then we go into like 7th zone, they're 400 above. And then kind of running out of steam as far as like maps are concerned. Yeah, I mean, look at this, just 3 builds available to them, unfortunately jumping into that box. It was possible that Thomas HD thought that it could have been a solo, but Queasy, once again, just with that solo clutch, even though he wasn't able to get too much besides the elimination and an 11th place finish, that still adds up, Mini. Yeah, it does. I mean, it was a similar situation to earlier on where he actually left the body in the storm. He couldn't get the heals and the materials and stuff that was on that body earlier. He went for it this game. He tried it. He saw those chug smashes, which of course can heal your whites, and he tried to go for it. Wasn't quite enough there at the end, but again, a nice game. Of course, Peterbot and Pollo there got 17th place. I think it was an 11th place for these guys right here, so they're getting the upper hand on them. They're getting the edge on them. It's just not quite enough to take over that first place spot at the moment. This is going to be a fight until the very end. 2 games left to go, and then a champion will be crowned. Fortnite fam, let's get ready to jump into game 11 on the day. Casters, over to you. Here it is. There's only 2 more chances now. Match 11 being one of them coming right up.
It almost feels so surreal at this point, MDF, that we are right on the cusp of crowning our next global champions.
Yeah, and it is really close at the top. I can't believe Queasy and Thomas couldn't take the small opportunity available, but let's see it. chances. Will everyone get here in match number 11 to take their shot at the throne? Because at this point, Peterbot and Pollo have served up too many opportunities. They can't surely come up short, right?
You would think so, but at the same time, NDF, with a 1.5 times point multiplier, anything is possible. And speaking of crazy possibilities here, Brutal Beachhead, Gal Gamer, Haman, they're actually gonna fly right overhead. They've recognized they have been completely outdropped. Their intentions are elsewhere. Sato and Andalex, though, on the north side of the warship here at Brutal Beachhead. Could be a moment for Acorn and Cole to potentially manifest their own destiny here on the day, because they have certainly encountered a fair share of struggles. And the contest also continues at the Rebels Roost for Kovacs, Putty, Sky, and Scroll.
Looking for an opportunity, looking for an angle right now. Huddy's gonna get a huge pickup from the drop right there, so that's the round out the loadout here. Shotgun, AR ready to go. Burst being a great option so early right now. Monarch pistol for Kovacs, so not exactly the best. However, this is a hot drop, so you can see there are plenty of drones flying around that'll drop good loot as well. But Scroll and Sky this time not content with what they've received. Back off. We've seen them do this before. Meanwhile, on the other side, a power-worthy and Alex kicking things off, continuing their domination over Restored Reels. They really have impressed us, I would say, with what they're capable of in the early game. If they can just patch up that mid-game, I mean, they would make OCE very proud.
Well, they've managed to smooth out the difficulties that they had in day one as far as that 50-50 drop is concerned and Restored Reels. The problem now today has just been Kanata and Cooper, amongst other teams, just closing in on that location after they see the exchange take place. But Acorn is currently situated here at Brutal Beachhead without Cold, and considering the Andalex as an elimination of his own, you have to expect that that was the one he found on the Cold.
Yeah, it's sad to see, but it's about the worst we've seen Acorn and Cold do in person right now, and there's a lot of factors starting to add up. Normally, they play very, very well, you know, being contested. However, there were some rumors Cold wasn't feeling 100% today, so that could be taking its effect here now, especially as we drag on later into the evening, as they've kind of slipped down. But shift our focus into the stars of the evening, if you will. Pollo and Peterbot right now really starting to take form here. Last game makes you wonder what all went wrong in the mid-game, given that they were just in shambles somehow. No extra material. And then on the other side, Queasy and Thomas had a opposite situation, but this time it's an elimination.
They pushed in rather quick to capitalize on Kramsu and Clone, who do land a little bit north of where Research Rock is at, and sure enough, Queasy just beaming Kramsu. Could have potentially just been a circumstance where Kramsu didn't even have time to react. He just got dropped in 2 shots pretty much, so well played to Queasy, Thomas HD for that one. Something we were just talking about in between these matches is the fact that Queasy and Thomas have been able to find the placement points, but what they need to add to it at this stage are the eliminations.
Definitely being elimination light is what's holding them back on the standings right now, but consistency is surely theirs, and that'll trump everything. Talk about consistent teams. Vico and Flixie have been online, but this time they have to be careful, have to be wary of Bryson Bolts, who are coming off a Victory Royale, given that they are another top 10 team, so that's not gonna be easy by any means, but a battle for the Forecast Tower is, of course, worth fighting for. And we've seen Bryson Bolts escape already with the cards, so.
Not only that, I mean, even factor in what happened yesterday. Bryson Bolts taking out Flixie when he did secure that Forecast key card, so anything goes just about. Just because you get the key card, until you actually confirm it onto that Forecast Tower, you can't consider it in your control. Teeny and Chap, though, across the map. Just putting on so much pressure here for Garrison Shari. No real opportunity for them to bounce back here.
Garrison Shari mixing up the strategies doesn't seem to be working going north at all right now. They were better off sitting in the storm trying to catch tags on the Clix and Vino. Jumping in with Chicho now in Trulex. Just outside the Doomstat. Big base here. Ramped out almost to see what they can find. Things are going to slow down here for a moment, but on the other side, things starting to heat up now for Chap and Teeny. Another elimination to finish the duo off.
They knew that Shari was a solo, though, after collecting Gira, so it makes sense that they would take the time to pinpoint his location. The surge damage, just such a massive necessity to collect early on, so that way they can have better control over their rotations as the match progresses. Because we are down to our final 2 lobbies here today, MDF. Walks Ping getting active now against the likes of Rise and Yuma, and they're gonna win out. 2 big eliminations to add to the tab as Pollo and Peterbot yet again also finding themselves fully in control of the forecast tower.
They've doubled back, they've secured it again, and this means that they will have all the information for all of the zones coming up. It's such an advantage. And it's not just them, right? There are other teams, of course, securing other forecast towers. However, they have just been the team that be able to do the most with that information.
But now you've got a team with the best medallion, the best striker burst assault rifle, the best kind of opportunities to set themselves into optimal positioning thanks to the forecast. Shutting that down might not even be the focus. More so, it's just got to be other teams emphasizing even more still into their own gameplay to ensure that they can keep up at this point.
Miko and Flixie trying to keep up. I love that they go around, tag other teams, and then double back to the railways, always looking for someone who makes the mistake of getting to their drop spot, looking for scraps. Seems to be what works. On the other side, though, CZB Nathan, EU team going up against Bryce and Bolts right now. Bryce and Bolts are actually just waiting right now, probably not too sure about what they want to do. I'm sure they want to get back to farming as they don't have much to work with here, and CZB and Nathan seem to catch a read here. They don't want to take this fight.
Yeah, Season B and Nathan, they're in a far better position as well, just having that little bit of elevation to work with. So Bryce, Bolts, they're likely going to head the opposite direction, but something I couldn't help but notice last time we checked in with Trulex and Chicho, that surge base that they had established, the way that they were taking shots into Doomstad, wondering how much interference they've been playing today up against the likes of Muzz and Epic Whale, Reet and Ritual. Keep in mind, those two teams are trying to head, they're already softly contesting each other. They've been splitting Doomstad between the north and south sides, but when you've got Trulex and Chicho, such strong mechanical players, you know they have such crazy pinpoint accuracy, and they're holding you with the surge base from so far. It can be very difficult to actually work your way out of that location.
Especially if it forces you into another team that you're not expecting, which of course will be disastrous. Chicho and Trulex doing just that as well, talking about manipulating these rotates. They're trying to do that here. No tags right now into Rapid and Batman Booga. However, Trulex has got a completely different angle here on the outskirts. But the call's being made. Time to get a move on it here. They'll be one of the first to rotate now.
Plenty of rocks, though, to easily refarm some of the brick that they had invested for that first surge base. And just behind them, you can see Muzz, Epic Whale. They've had to maintain a low profile to prevent themselves from being victims of Trulex and Chicho's Eagle Eyes inside of that surge base. But the surge bases continue to pose issues for plenty of other teams around the lobby. Here we've got Pollo and Peterbot actually looking to see if they can capitalize onto Sky and Scroll. One above, one below. Sky Scroll caught in the center. But they're gonna try to just finagle their way out of this one, sure enough. Pollo, though, just quick to the chase.
Haven't quite got the tags though, right? So something isn't going right for this battle here. Clearly, the goal is damage and or eliminations, but none being earned. Meanwhile, Ping and Wox right here are in a completely different fight. Deep into the storm, just outside the underworld. Wox, who's at 3 eliminations here, clearly fired up for match 11 right now. Chasing down visuals and Braids. Finds the wall, Ping on the other side, gets the edit. However, Braids slips out.
This is looking rather dire, though, for Braids. For Wox and Ping, they've already invested so much time. They need this surge damage at this point, which is why Wox, he's so intent, so determined to make sure that he cleans up the other half of this duo. Not to mention the 3 eliminations as well. Wox and Ping playing super aggressive. Some of these final lobbies. A knock, though, is going to be a big setback here for Wox and Ping. They have some white heals to work with, but keep in mind, we just saw Trulix and Chicho's positioning. All the other teams as well that are based a little bit more towards that northeast side of the map are going to have ample opportunity to just gatekeep these teams that are still inside the storm, rotating so late.
Think about what they're fighting for. These are all of our top 10 teams we're jumping in and giving you guys updates with. You are seeing just why they are sitting well within the top 10, taking fights, dropping teams, making big moments every single chance that they get, and now Dukes and Sphinx are looking to do just that as well here, as they're sitting heavily in 5th here. But Kramsu, Clone looking for the double pincer here. Both sides are cut off, but Dukes and Sphinx double back one another. Good defensive wall thrown down there. The tags are even better, but Dukes, as mechanical as he is, can't take too many of those tags there. Will he be set back? Kramsu really pushing the agenda here, as is Clone.
Keep in mind, Clone and Kramsu, they're trying to make up for lost time. Queasy getting that initial elimination posed such a big setback because they had to make a play for the reboot ban. So now you know that they need some surge damage to efficiently move throughout the rest of this mid game. And Dukes and Sphinx, they wouldn't mind the refresh materials at this point. They're using up a lot of their splashes just to try and get the job done. Not sure which duo actually decided to start the engagement, but at this point, somebody needs to find closure before the third party trickles in.
Dukes and Sphinx gonna get another tag here onto Kramsu, but not much. Clone is also hurt, but so is Sphinx. Sphinx seems to be the one taking the most damage in this battle. All of these chug splashes coming out to make sure they keep him up. Given the circumstances, the Flowberry Fizz to reset the full HP now. They're gonna commit back into it. They're too deep into the water now to give this one up. They're gonna have to swim their way out. They need the mats, they need the material, they need everything that they can pick up off of Dukes and Sphinx here. And Sphinx and Dukes need to stay alive because they're inside the top 5, so much more riding on the line for them right now.
But again, the fact that they've even been held up for this long with Kramsu and Clone is such a huge detriment. There are multiple teams now beginning to filter in around them, and with the way that the zone has started to pull over the likes of Reckless Railways, keep in mind that's also Vico and Flixie's backyard, and they've got that forecast knowledge from this match.
Dukes is trapped though, 2 tags come in, and he is forced back to the low ground. This is not going the way they expected at all here. Sphinx also punished now. The Hispanic duo sees blood in the water here as they've caught the white tags. They are hunting as aggressive as ever. Down goes Sphinx first. Dukes falls as well, and 5th place is out now. And this is gonna give everyone else the chance now to secure that 5th plus. Resigns Demo, they'll move in here. It's not over for Clone and Kramsu. In fact, it's done for them now as Resigns is gonna find the first elim, and Demo gets the 2nd. And just like that, they timed their entry perfectly for OCE.
And at this stage, again, Clone and Kramsu, sure they got